Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the future of the water and wastewater industry and the careers you didn't know about. I'm your host, Dave Kosminski, and we are live here at the historic Viking Hotel in downtown Newport for our CTAWWA annual conference. And I met a new friend. Anyway, hi, Jennifer. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We have Miss Jennifer Reynolds, who is a staff engineer with Tighe and Bond. So how do you like the conference so far?
I think it's great. It's my first time attending this conference. I'm having a blast.
And you're doing a great job. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay, so tell us, number one, how you got into the water industry and what's your day job?
Yeah, well, first, so I've been at Tighe and Bond for 4 years, but I previously worked at a consulting firm outside of Washington, D.C. in the power industry, which doesn't match up with my undergraduate degree. I studied chemical engineering at the University of Connecticut.
Oh, okay,
with
UConn.
Yeah, UConn, go Huskies. But I minored in environmental engineering then and thought I might be interested in that. When I was doing my undergrad, I realized as a chemical engineer, you can work in the pharmaceuticals or possibly food processing or for petroleum, and none of that sounded great, and petroleum in particular was, as a native Vermonter, felt wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, and so then I went like hard left turn, wound up in the power industry, worked with a lot of coal plants, natural gas plants, and that was interesting. But again, after a while, you start to think to yourself, well, this is not great for the environment. This is, we're, what's that story of the kid plugging the dam with his finger?
With the finger, yes.
That's kind of what it felt like we were doing, making the coal plants cleaner. So not hating on coal, but definitely felt like that wasn't the industry I wanted to spend my life working for. And so. Well,
I mean, you look at climate change now. I mean,
it matters.
It does. It really is. And it is an issue.
Yeah. And so after a while, I was looking to move, and I just decided it's time to start and do something new and do the thing that I thought I wanted to do all along, which was work in the water or wastewater industry and do things that have like an actual positive impact on people and the environment. And so I've been doing that for 4 years, and I love it. It's great. It's excellent.
When you were in high school, did you have a guidance counselor that steered you in any different direction, or how did that work?
They certainly supported my interests. I sort of knew all along that I either wanted to go into engineering or science, and I particularly loved chemistry, so it was kind of like, I want to be a chemist or an engineer. And that's just because I grew up around engineers, and I liked the problem-solving aspect. I liked the versatility. I think one of the things I always talked about with my dad, who was also an engineer, was that they're just training you how to problem solve and like think like an engineer. And so I just saw it as a great way to go to school, get a degree, and have it be like immediately useful. You know, the downside of maybe of being a scientist is I felt like I was gonna have to get a master's. And I didn't want to commit to that much school when I was like 18. I wanted to just 4 years and be ready to work and do something interesting.
Yeah, let's go out and make money.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Go from there. Well, that's awesome. Again, the premise of the whole podcast when I created this is to basically get this in front of guidance counselors, in front of high school and maybe freshman college students to, at least make an awareness of the potential careers that lie under that big umbrella of the water industry. Because the neat thing about, the water industry, as you know, it's a very small community. It's a very passionate community.
True.
We're passionate about what we do, but it's also a community that you don't necessarily have to have a college degree to get into.
That's true, right? There's a lot of ways you can be involved, and as I've met more people involved in the industry, and not just from the engineering side, I realize that it is really important, and there's a lot of skills out there that people have, and even if you think, well, I don't want to go to college, or I don't want to get a 4-year degree, there's a lot of other places you can get involved in. You can work in that industry and still have the same positive impact that I wanted to have as a undergrad.
And it's a very stable industry, and it's as I keep telling all of our guests on the podcast, it's not really an industry that you can outsource.
Right. You always need water, and it's got to pretty much be made at home.
Yeah, you've got to have the boots on the ground to fix it, as far as that goes. So anyway, so when you went over to Tighe and Bond, was water your prime function over there?
Yeah, at Tighe and Bond, I mostly work in the drinking water industry. I do, with our drinking water clients, I do treatment and some storage. I haven't done too much distribution, but a little bit of that. I do dabble in wastewater occasionally. I was interested in either drinking water or wastewater when I showed up. I didn't, wastewater, you look at it and you say, well, obviously cleaning up the wastewater before you discharge it to the environment, right. Environmental plus. But like the drinking water side, I enjoy way more than I thought. It's very interesting. And then obviously it hits close to home. You think a lot about, I'm consuming this water. I know people who live in the towns that I work with. And so while it's different than what I thought I'd be doing, I'm having a lot of fun. And I think it's very rewarding.
I know, Tighe and Bond did a pretty exhaustive study for us at the town of Portland, on our infrastructure needs and our plans going forward. I don't know if you were involved in that.
I've heard about it. I didn't work on it, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so forth. But, Peter Gallant and the whole crew there they did a great job as far as that goes.
Yeah, Peter's great. I love working with him.
Yeah, he's, it's his path in the industry took some twists and turns to get, as far as that goes. But, that's phenomenal. So, going from, obviously the water industry and you get into the wastewater industry, what words of wisdom, would you have to, potential high school senior or college freshman on finding a path forward in life, so to speak?
I think there's a lot of pressure on people to know exactly what they want to do right away. I think engineering degrees are very versatile, if that's something that appeals to you. And obviously, I think I'm a good poster child for that because my undergrad was not what any of my jobs have been. And yet there is so much on-the-job learning that can happen.
Sure.
And then if you can find an employer, and I think there's many employers out there in the industry who are passionate about teaching their employees. I think one thing that got me really excited about Tighe and Bond is that, to be honest, when I was applying, I wasn't the typical candidate. I had the maybe technical experience of something akin to like a undergrad maybe, but like had a lot more project management experience, and they found a role for me where I could use the skills that I developed working professionally in consulting for almost 7 years, but also teach me the technical things I needed to know. It's a great community to be a part of, I think, and there's a lot of really excellent organizations, obviously, including this one.
Oh, yeah. Well, like I say, I've been a member of the Connecticut section for many, many years. I'm a past chair.
Yeah.
Got a few years under my belt. I'm on year 49 with the town of Portland and so forth. So it's like, but as you all know, the succession planning in the industry has been, and it's not only our industry, but every industry is what we call the Grey Tsunami. There's going to be a lot of knowledge base that is going to be walking out the door, and you got to be able to replace those bodies, as they come in. My second podcast, the first podcast that I did, we had Miss Lori Matthew, who's the head of the branch chief at the health department. Second podcast we did was Bill Sullivan, who was the head of operator certification. And, he laid down some staggering statistics. When I got in the industry, there were over 800 plus operators in the state. Now there's about 450.
Oh, my.
So
it's a lot less.
It is a lot less. And, those 450 operators, most of them are managing more than one system.
Right.
So,
right.
It's more than what the old saying, more with less, or something like that. But, that just goes to show that, and like I say, every industry is, I think, experiencing that. And, we've got to start turning that tide and, making awareness, because, the water industry as a whole, it's a big umbrella. There are a lot of careers under that umbrella that you don't necessarily have to be a college graduate. Yeah, if you've got a technical side, or if you've got good with your hands, it's certainly there's a career in there.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
To go from there. So, but that's great. Now, what water utilities have you been working with as far as?
I work a lot with RWA down in Southern Connecticut.
Okay, yeah.
And I've done a little bit with Aquarion, and closer to my office in Westfield, I work a lot with Holyoke.
Okay.
Those are the big ones, but I've done a little bit for some very small communities as well, where they'll supply water to like 50 homes.
Okay.
And they obviously have a very interesting set of challenges, much smaller budgets, much smaller systems, and
Yes.
volunteers who run them. And like, I think there's a lot of communities like that out there, especially in New England, where, a lot of respect to the people who volunteer their time to make water for their neighbors, basically.
Sure. Years ago, they call them non-community systems.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they were basically, a guy that managed the trailer park, he was a plumber.
Yeah,
Okay, so,
yeah.
okay, you're the operator or somebody, back in the day, there was a gentleman that managed a lot of those systems. It was Aquasor, but John Wittenzeller. And John was an operator for probably, had to be 30 or 40 systems like that, small systems. And then he retired, and, it was basically, okay, here, leaving the keys on the on the counter.
Yeah.
Okay, it's all you. And so, because of that, a lot of the larger utilities, Connecticut Water and Aquarion were saying, okay, the state would say, okay, you're running this system and you're running that system, because, these people didn't have the resource to do that.
I actually grew up in a water system like that, where they feed a little more people, but they provide water for, I'm not sure I'm going to get the number right, a couple hundred homes, maybe 1,000 residents in the town. So, and I have a lot more, I didn't really ever know what that building was. I walked by it most days, and now I have a lot more respect for what they do. It's like our neighbor. I actually got him to show me around their plant the last time I was up at home, because now I know about it.
So now, obviously, regulatory requirements are coming down all the time. How do you keep up with the regulatory requirements now?
I mean, stay involved in professional organizations. I also have some good working relationships with some of the regulators. So when we're chatting about projects, we might also chat about what they see happening.
What's coming down the pike.
Yeah, I certainly don't have the most like some people really have a good pulse in the finger, but they sort of keep me in the loop. And as well as just, we share information internally. Sure. If people hear something, or, folks will write up a summary of something they learned at a conference and send it out to everyone. So I think it's a lot of just work in your network.
Well, I tell my students all the time, never underestimate the power of networking.
No, right.
Because you never know, who you're going to shake hands with, who you're going to meet, and who you're introduced to, or they know you, that you're going to need them, or they need you.
And people just like it when you put yourself out there a little bit.
Sure. No, absolutely.
People want to help, so you got to reach out.
Exactly. And I think, that's what makes this conference so great, because, you see a lot of the engineer consultants, you see a lot of the, field people, you see a lot of the managerial people, you see a lot of, everybody. And to be in that network, to be able to put a face with the name and say, hey, if you have a problem, I know who to call with that problem. And they, sure, and like anybody in the industry, as you know, we're very passionate about what we do, and we're more than willing to share, okay, this is what I did. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And it may not be a perfect fit, but it may point you in the right direction. Go from there. So that's great. So anyway, so on a personal note, what do you do for fun?
Well, I really love getting outside, going on hikes on the weekends. A couple years back, I think it's been almost 5 years now, my now fiance and I biked across the U.S., so that was really fun. We don't do as much biking now. We got a dog, and we feel bad. We can't take him biking with us. But but we did that. That was great.
You don't have the tag-along thing for the
No,
bike?
he's heavy. He's like 65 pounds. I wouldn't.
Okay. He's a big boy.
No, he's a big boy. If he were smaller, so I might consider it. But yeah.
Now, are your bikes a street bike, or are they mountain bikes?
We got steel frame touring bikes, so they're made to carry the weight of your camping gear and your clothes and stuff.
Nice.
So they're very heavy.
Yeah.
So I think we're both considering buying lighter bikes for more casual rides, because it's a lot of work to move a heavy bike.
Oh yeah, especially if you have a backpack on your back, and, all that kind of stuff. So where have you biked? Any specific places that you?
Well, on that trip, we started in LA and we biked to Portland, Oregon, and then we biked to the East Coast.
Wow.
Yeah, so we saw a lot on that. And then, since we've moved to Connecticut, we've just biked around the towns that we live in. And where we live in Connecticut, it's right on the edge of what they call the hill towns. So it's very Very beautiful.
Okay.
Doesn't take long till you feel like it's just you and the bears out there.
Nice. And how long did that trip take you?
93 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like 5,678 miles.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Took some days off, to see the sights or recover or visit a city or something.
Nice.
See some family.
And what time of year did you do that?
In the summer.
In the summertime. Okay. Yeah.
You have to wait for all the snow to melt because sometimes they close roads.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Well, again, climate change now, I mean, there's such a variety of extreme weather events, whether it be floods, whether it be snow, whether it be hurricanes, tornadoes, or whatever. It's crazy, and I think that's something that we as a whole, as an environment, have to reckon with. To go from there, and the water industry is part of that.
Yeah.
Did you see any extreme water shortages out west?
You could definitely feel it. You could definitely feel the climate difference. I grew up on the East Coast, and as soon as you leave the coast in Oregon and you bike over like the first pass of mountains away from, Portland and away from the river, and it's like desert until it feels like desert essentially until you hit basically Minnesota. Yeah.
Okay.
It's some up in the mountains a little bit in Wyoming and Idaho. They get a little more rain, but even there, it's just different. It's like drier and everything, and you can really feel like why they would have problems. Now, nobody told us, we're out of water and stuff like that, but you can understand where the problems start to come from. On the East Coast, we're definitely blessed with the amount of water that we just have naturally. Like, it's incredible.
Yes. Well, we're, the Northeast is obviously water rich and, and so forth, and thank God for that.
But we shouldn't take it for granted.
No.
Right? Because, we have to, you shouldn't use it up just because you have it there. So I think it's really important. So I think I have a lot more respect for, the conservation than, I like to always feel like I thought like that, but it's definitely more so now that I've seen other places.
Sure, yeah. Well, one of the things, I was, chair of the Sustainability Committee, and Carolyn Giambi kind of took over for me as I kind of had to step back. But you're more than welcome to come to one of our
maybe I will.
Sustainability meetings. And that's another large umbrella. Sustainability is can mean many things.
It means a lot of things.
To
it
a
does.
lot of people.
Yeah.
And, whether it be workforce succession, whether it be, infrastructure improvements or whatever. It's definitely something that, water utilities as a whole have to start looking forward, and not backward.
Yeah.
To go from there. So, anyway, I don't know if you know, but I'm a music fan. I own a music store. So,
that's so cool.
Yeah. So I've had what's the first concert you ever went to?
My dad took me to see Styx and REO Speedwagon when I was quite a bit younger.
Okay, nice.
I didn't know any of the songs.
Okay. What's your taste in music now?
A little bit of everything. Sometimes top 40. Sometimes I like something really upbeat that I can go for a run to. I like some indie rock, like some Mumford & Sons, some more folksy stuff. But I also like the classics, like Etta James, Stevie Wonder, a little bit of everything.
Etta James, at last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be my first dance song when I get married in 2 weeks.
Is that right? Congratulations.
Yeah.
Okay. When's the big day?
June 11th.
Awesome.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
And where's the wedding going to take
place?
Vermont. In Vermont?
Yeah, nearish my parents' house.
Nice.
Yeah.
How nice.
It'll be beautiful and green and probably not too hot because it's Vermont. They have wonderful weather in June normally.
Yes, they do.
Fingers crossed.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. So the other thing, this is another question I usually ask. Okay, a desert island food. Okay? If you were stuck on a desert island and had to eat one thing every day, what would it be?
Oh man, that's really tough. Oh man. I think a food that I'm drawn to very frequently and get really excited about is just like a really good thin crust wood-fired pizza. So I'd like to believe that I could eat a lot of those for a long time and be pretty happy.
Yeah. Again, I have my drum teacher at the music store. He has his music podcast, and one of the guests that he had on was a gentleman, Dean Falcone. And I don't know if you're familiar with any New Haven pizza at all.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You got Pepe's, you got Sally's, and you got Modern.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Dean shows up, okay, and he scored the music. I don't know if you're familiar or if you ever saw the pizza story, the love story of,
No.
about New Haven pizza.
No.
You gotta
Now I
catch
feel
that.
like I need to.
Yes. Well, he scored the music
Okay.
for it. Well, anyway, so he shows up for this podcast, right, in my music store in Portland, right? And he walks in with 3 Sally's pizzas.
Wow.
And it's like, and I had never had a Sally's pizza, boy. But
They're good.
Oh.
Even if they're not like piping hot, like, you know, because obviously he had to bring them up to Portland.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
still really good.
Oh, my God.
And you can taste the quality in all of them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This is, you know, if once as he says, once the pizza hits a box, it loses something. You know.
I don't know, but they start so good. It doesn't. Yeah,
It was killer.
You know,
it was killer.
I joke sometimes that the reason I like to work with RWA is that when I go down and see their offices in New Haven, I can like bring a pizza home.
There you go.
I like them for they're fun. They're a fun group for a lot of reasons.
Absolutely.
So that is definitely a bonus.
There you go. It's one of the fringe benefits of working for RWA.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming and taking
my
time.
pleasure. Are we shaking? We're shaking.
Oh, yeah, sure. Jennifer Reynolds is in the house. She is a staff engineer for the Tighe and Bond company, which does a tremendous amount of work for the water industry. And again, it's all about water right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the future of the water and wastewater industry and the careers you did not know about and some of the people that make it happen. And we're live at the historic Viking Hotel in downtown Newport. So, Jennifer, thanks so much, and we'll catch you soon tonight.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Bye-bye.